going to give you this mic back. But what I'm going to say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.
So I go upstairs right before my Uber arrives, and I go upstairs and I ask her, I was like, portrait. And I go into her room. No, actually, before I even open the door, this heifer had the nerve to say to me, what? Ooh, child, I lost about 3 inches that night. Ooh, she said, what?
And the lights get up, slow motion, I freeze, you watch me, sample me, reduce me to somebody, hit me, no don't you, just nod your head, don't try to change it, I said what I said, hit you with a playback, I said what I said, look what I did.
So wait, let me start over because I don't know what that little sound effect was. I'm not gonna lie, my freaking cycle is irritating me. I don't think every single time I'm on my cycle I'm easily irritated, but this time around I feel so easily triggered, bro. Like if somebody says something to me that's stupid, I'm just like, when I see something, when I read something right now, if it's dumb, if it's just stupid, I'm just like, I can't. I just lost brain cells. I can't. So I think this is the perfect time. I think this is the perfect time to get some stuff off my chest, because I know that I've got like pent up energy, pent up tension. So I'm about to like, I'm about to like just let it free, you know, like go on with the wind, just release it, let go and let go. Alright, so I'm done being extra. Mind you, of course, it's late at night, but whatever. Sakpa se mi gente, welcome to my universe, welcome back to my universe. Hey. Okay. I don't know what the title of this will be. I think I'll get to that like at the end of this, and then just, you know, type it in or something like that. Pero sí. I want to talk about a few instances, but the major one, which is what the title will be about, is the time I basically just like walked away from a friendship when I just disinvited myself from this girl's everything. I just separated myself from this girl because although we were friends for like about a year or something like that. I had known her for quite some time, but we weren't really talking like that or like really close, or I wasn't spending time around her family and at her house or anything like that until like the year and a half or whatever that we were cool, you know, or friends. So yes, I separated myself from her because although I respected her and I respected the friendship initially and stuff, I just started to see things. And I want to talk about those things because I've been on a rant. If you look at some of the previous videos, I've definitely been on a rant about just noticing when people are disrespecting your entire being, when people are disrespecting your entire character, you got to do yourself a favor and you got to set boundaries. You have to put those boundaries in place because people do to you what you allow them to do. It's one of those hard pills to swallow because nobody wants to accept that. Nobody wants to hear like, oh, like I could have potentially allowed this kind of thing to happen. I could have allowed this kind of energy to flourish. But yes, you did. In some ways, yes, you did. And people don't want to accept that because it makes people think that, oh, like you're blaming them, or oh, I have to blame myself in order to heal. Girl, no, nobody said anything about blame. People need to understand there's a difference between blame and ownership, accountability. Blame looks at fault. Accountability looks at ownership. What are you responsible for in this entire mess? What did you contribute to? That's all I'm saying. But nonetheless, let me get into the actual meat and potatoes of the whole shebang. So the first instance that's connected to the actual main story is the time I was at this girl's house. This girl, I've actually like mentioned her in a video before. I think her name back then was Sasha. Like if you have been here for a while, you know who Sasha is. But I'm gonna change her name just because I don't like to use people's that's not her real name, but I don't like to use like real names. I like to use like object names or something like that. So I'm gonna call this girl Portrait. Okay, so I was at Portrait's house, and this was probably earlier 2018, because I don't think 2019 she was in my life. Yeah, so I think that this was in the early summer or like the springtime of 2018. I'm at Portrait's house, and I don't know like what the mood is. I don't know what happened before I got there. It's not like she texted me like, girl, come over. I think we just had plans for me to come over there. So I go over there, we're at the kitchen table, we're just talking and whatever. And then at a certain point, she's like, oh, like I want to go downstairs, because in the basement is where we would spend a lot of time. Like we would just dance, listen to music, or watch stuff, or just talk. Like obviously, if you haven't learned by now, if you don't see the timestamps on all my videos, I am definitely a talker. And this girl is somewhat of a talker. Like I don't know where, she's obviously not on my level of like talking people to death, but she's definitely insightful. I'll give her that. She's definitely got something up here. So we would have like meaningful conversations or whatever. I think we went downstairs with the intent of just chilling. So the door was closed. I opened, I said, oh, is there anybody down here? Not like, oh, is there anybody down here? But I asked her, I told her, I'm like, do you think there's somebody down here, something like that? Because it's not usually closed. I feel like I'm talking like really fast. I feel like I'm talking like pero sí. She was like, oh, you know, like her sister, let me give her sister a name. Okay, her name is Portrait. The sister's name is going to be Paintbrush. Okay, so she's like, I think Paintbrush is down there. I don't know, like she's always down here doing nothing. She's da 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 da. Like she just starts talking about her sister, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I may ignore it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. So we descend the staircase, right? And the lights are off. I think that the television is on or off, or on a, like maybe it's on but on a low volume or something like that. I didn't hear nothing. Okay, so we go down into the basement, and I see like a body underneath the covers and what have you, and I see a little phone. Literally, the girl is under the covers like this, like how kids be these days. Just sitting there like a dead-ass zombie. Just sitting there, bro. And her sister, Portrait, comes down there. She's like, Paintbrush, get up. It's such and such time in the afternoon. Like, you so lazy. You so dirty. Look at all these dishes down here. You've been down here forever. Get up. It's time to get up. We about to cook. If you don't come upstairs and help us cook, then you're not eating. You're not getting nothing. Literally. And mind you, I have not ever in my life seen Portrait talk like this. I have not ever seen her bold. Now I will say this, in the year and a half that we have become friends, mind you, I'm not gonna put too much information out there, because the people who watch my videos and who know her are gonna put like 2 and 2 together. I'm not trying to tell everything. I don't want everybody to know who this is, so I'm not gonna say that. I was just about to say something, but it was gonna be a dead ass giveaway. So I'm gonna just scratch that part. So this girl, I've not ever seen her like talk like that, but I did notice in the year and a half that we have become friends, that, or become close, that she emulated me. And this seems to happen like with another girl who I do not F with, or I do not talk with, or anything like that. Like I wouldn't even know if I recognized her today if I saw her, because that's how long it's been. But that girl, she definitely emulated me too, would like mimic me, copy me, talk like me, do my hand gestures, all that kind of stuff. If I say it's a wrap with a bow on top, move around, girl, call a U-Haul truck, all of a sudden everybody's like, it's a wrap, girl, call a U-Haul truck. No. And it was one of those situations. Even her sister, Paintbrush, said to me one time, she talks like you. She's always trying to talk like you. And I don't know what happens. I don't know what it is. I think that some people take it as a form of flattery. I prefer people to just be themselves. Okay? Not me. I don't befriend you to see another version of me. But that's okay. I understand that I cannot control what people decide to do and what people decide to say, even if it is the exact same words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? So I did not ever see her have that kind of energy. That's more so my kind of energy, but not towards like her family members or nothing like that. It's more like, and I don't even like start demanding people to do stuff like that. It's just not me. But I'm rambling, my bad. So she starts talking like that. I don't recognize it. I'm like, okay, I don't know where this energy is coming from, but she says what she's got to say. Tells her to pick up the dishes, get up, it's something time in the afternoon, yada yada yada. So she goes upstairs. I'm still right there, and she's like, her sister Paintbrush is like, oh, she's so annoying, da 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 da. I just ignore all of that. I'm like, we're about to cook, like you should come upstairs, because I was concerned for the girl too. Like I said, her ass was like this. Like, it's like, is it that deep? Is it that deep? And every time I went over to that girl's house, she was always just in there like this. And I was concerned too. However, it's not my place to like butt in, you know? So I was just trying to get her to come upstairs and do something interactive. I didn't realize that that would backfire because of where her and her sister's tensions were at. So I finally get the girl to come upstairs. That does not last for more than a minute and a half. Okay, because I open the freezer, I'm looking like, okay, so what kind of like protein, because apparently protein isn't a real thing, it's man-made, like the virus. But yeah, I'm like, what kind of protein do you guys like want to make for the rice and the beans, etc.? And she's like, I don't know, it doesn't matter to me, you pick it. So I turn to Paintbrush and I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? And she's looking like, oh, well, what do we have? And I'm like, well, we have this and we have this. And then every time Paintbrush suggests something, Portrait is like, why would you pick that? You know we don't have enough of that. You know that mom was planning to make da 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 da. Just being really rude towards the girl. So then, long story short, it just escalated. Like literally, she was up there for maybe a minute and 30 seconds before she was like, Portrait, shut the fuck up. She's like, you always got something to say. Nobody's talking to you. Why are you being so annoying? Like just going off on her sister. And I just stood there because I watched this escalate. I'm like, you were provoking this girl from the jump. So anywho, Paintbrush is like just standing there, because I'm sure this is not the first time this has happened. And Portrait, or no, Portrait's just standing there. Paintbrush is going off. Paintbrush is just telling her about herself. Like, that's why such and such and such happened. How about you go da 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 da. Like basically tell her to go off. So she goes back. I tell her, let's just go back downstairs. And I go put her downstairs. Basically, I close the door, and then it's just silent for a while. Now, maybe some people would say this was my mistake. I don't know. I don't care. But after like a few minutes of silence, I'm just, you know, trying to like mix up the stuff, thaw the meat or whatever. And I was like, you know, what I noticed is that you guys don't really talk to each other. Like, I noticed that you just kind of went down there and started talking at her, started talking about how it's what time it is, and you know, you just started telling her to pick up the dishes and stuff. And I noticed that you guys don't really like communicate with each other, like good morning or you know, how are you feeling today? And she cuts me off and she's like, you know what, I don't need a second therapist right now. No, girl, you need about 5. That's what you need. You need about 5 therapists, because the current therapist you got is not working for you. The current therapist that you've been working with, she ain't doing nothing for you. She's not doing enough. Not if this is the attitude that you have, because that was so unnecessary. And as the girl, for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that I was the sibling. Not the only one. I'm not trying to say it was only poor Starlini, but I was the sibling who was disregarded, who was disrespected, who was belittled, who was picked on. When one of my sisters was fighting with me, it's not like another sister would be like, stop, like, okay, enough, like try to separate us. No, it was just funny. It was funny to watch my sister do all kinds of weird stuff to me. I mentioned in the previous video how my sister took my toothbrush, my one and only toothbrush, we didn't have spares, and put it up her behind, you know, and then just woke up early in the morning the next day when I woke up, just to like watch me go into the bathroom and put toothpaste on it. But I smelled the stuff, so I didn't use it. But anywho, long story short, I understand wholeheartedly what it is like to have your siblings with you, mess with you over and over again. So I do believe that her response Paintbrush's response to Portrait was very warranted. And when she said, oh, I don't need a second therapist right now, what that showed me is this girl is not in a space to hold herself accountable for anything that she does, because all she did was deflect. Oh, that's how she is. She's always like that. She has issues. Clearly she has issues. That's why her ass is sitting there like this. Clearly she has issues, but the solution to them issues is not to go down there and belittle her. Clearly the girl's depressed. Okay, so that's only one instance. Okay, I'm gonna make the rest of them quick. So the second one was actually when we walked somewhere. Again, this was all in the summer of 2018, springtime, something like that. So we walked somewhere. I don't know where the hell we were, but it was somewhere in the town. We did something, just chilled or whatever. It was just her and I. And then she didn't want to go home yet, Portrait. So I was like, well, I need to go get some groceries. I get around by like Ubering or walking. The grocery, I have to burp. So the grocery store was close enough to where I was staying at the time. So we walked to the grocery store and then we walked back to, my outlet's dad's building, which is where I had the room in the basement. So we walked back over there, and that's when she texted her dad to come get her from the house. While she's in the room texting her dad, I go into the bathroom. Right? And I notice I have crust. When I say crust, I mean piece of crust all over my lips, bro. Like, this may be too much, but like, look at this. You see how it's moist? You see how it's like glossy? You see that? It wasn't like that. It was crust, but like not all over, just like in the insides, like crust. And girls who, like people who wear lipstick and lip products, if you've ever had like a cheap lip product, then you know, like if you don't moisturize your lips first, then you know how it gets like mad crusty. Like, oh, I can't stress it enough, bro. You just be sitting there like chapped as heck, like dry as heck. So Jess, I look in the mirror and I'm like, what? Like, how long have I had this pizza crust on my lips? And why didn't she tell me, bro? Like, we was just walking with each other. We have been with each other for hours. We were just in the grocery store. The two guys, like the cashier and the bad guy, they were both like talking to us. And at the time, I was not looking for a boyfriend or nothing like that. No, and neither was she. However, like, it's so humiliating and like embarrassing when you're talking to somebody, you have stuff on your face and stuff on your teeth, and nobody tells you. I feel like that's some weak shit. Like, you need to tell somebody, especially if I'm rolling with you, because how do I look? Looking good and then my friend next to me looking bummy? How do I look? Like, why would you sit there and you let your so-called friend look crusty like that? Like, that's not a friend. Because this is how I look at it. In all seriousness, like, all jokes aside, I feel like this. I just feel like, if you cannot tell me I have crust in my eyes, if you cannot tell me, oh, like, Sterling, you got something right here, hold on, let me get it for you. If you can't even do that, you can't be real with me about anything. You cannot be real with me about anything. I cannot trust you. I can't trust you to have my back, because there is no way. And I know, because I've been there with her, where I'm like, oh, girl, hold on. You got something right here. Let me get it for you, girl. I'm not trying to scratch your eye. Let me get it. You know, I have been that girl. I will stay that girl, because I feel like from the bottom of mi corazón, you gotta be able to like trust that the person knows you don't mean no harm. How is it insulting if I tell you you got something on your teeth? Girl, go clean your teeth. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all. Like, I feel like there is no harm in that. You don't need to be embarrassed. You don't need to be ashamed to tell your friend, to tell your mom, to tell your pastor, okay, that there is something in their mouth. Like, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. Just open your mouth. But people, they overthink things. I know, because I overthink things, but I'm not gonna let my friend, okay, I'm not gonna let my friend sit here in these boys' face, in the pastor face, in her mother face, trying to make a point, and nobody can take her seriously, because all we see is that, the spinach right there, and the girl, bye. So I was very triggered when I saw it. I was just like, oh my god. I'm in the mirror like, oh my god, like, girl, why would you let me walk around like that? I thought we was friends. So I didn't say nothing to her at the time, because what was I supposed to say? Why didn't you tell me about something that I just fixed? It's okay. It's a wrap with a bow on top anyway. It's okay. So anywho, when we get to the part where it's time to call the U-Haul truck, is because this is the third instance now. This was like the tipping point for me. So, and that's not because of those two things, but that's the context to wrap all this stuff into a pretty ass bow for you. Okay. So I go to my friend's house. Actually, no. I published my poetry collection on June 21st, 2018. In fact, tomorrow is June 21st, 2020. So I know I'm going to upload something, but I don't know if it's going to be this one in particular, because I wanted to do something in honor of things I never said, my poetry collection. But I don't mind dropping 2 videos. I did that yesterday. I did that the day before. I've been kind of like on a roll. So I may drop this in the morning and then the other one at night. We will see. Tú sabes, like, vamos a ver. So anywho, it was June 21st, 2018 when I dropped my poetry collection, right? So at this had to have been after that point, because what I wanted to do was go take some pictures. I wanted to just do some type of like video trailer, and I did end up creating a video trailer. I don't really mess with any of the girls in the video anymore, so y'all probably will not see that video. But I did decide like that I wanted to do something. I wanted to do like photos for my website. In fact, if you go on my website, all those photos that you see, or with the exception of maybe one, those were all taken like on the same day. So I asked her initially, I asked Portrait if she wanted to do this with me, and she was like, oh, you know, like Paintbrush, her sister, is more of the artistic one, and that's true. She's more of the creator, like she loves photography. You should ask her. That's something she said to me like plenty of times, because she didn't feel like she was photogenic. She didn't feel like, you know, she's good with cameras or nothing like that. Like, all you gotta do is hold it and press a button, bro. Okay. So she was just like directing me towards her sister or whatever. So we, meaning me and Paintbrush, we have plans to go take some photos or something like that. And then the day of, I was not feeling too hot, like literally and physically. I was figuratively, I was just like not feeling it. I wasn't in a like, oh, let's take some pictures, let me pose, let me kind of mood. I just wasn't into it at the time. No. And funny enough, her sister texts me back and she Paintbrush is like, yeah, I feel ugly today. She's like, I feel ugly, I don't want to do pictures either. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to walk to such and such place to exercise. That's past their house. I said, you can come with me if you want. I'm going to ask your sister if she wants to come too. And then Paintbrush is like, well, if you're gonna ask my sister, I think it's best that I stay home, because I don't want her to feel like I'm butting in your relation, in your friendship or nothing like that. I'm like, what? Like, we all can't go exercise at the same place? Like, I don't understand that. I come from a big family. In my foster family, there was a lot of us. In my biological family, there was a lot of us as well. So it's like, I'm used to being around, not like all the time, but like being around my sister and her friend, like in the hallway, seeing them, walking up to them and saying hi. My sister, she don't know me, but I still did it because I'm like, you know my sister, I know my sister, we got something in common. Hi, like, hello, motherfucker. Like, that's all I'm trying to say is hi. Like, I didn't understand that, but I guess like she knew something that I didn't. So I was like, okay, well, I texted the girl, and the girl said that she didn't want to. By the girl, I mean I texted Portrait. Portrait said she didn't want to come. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm still going to go. Portrait said she was feeling nauseous or whatever. And I say whatever because that was her excuse. Let's just keep it all the way real, girl. Anytime she don't want to do nothing, that's her excuse. I feel nauseous. Like she pregnant or something. Like, I feel nauseous, I have a headache. I feel nauseous, I have a headache. I feel nauseous, I got a headache. I feel nauseous, I got a headache. Like, girl, just be honest. Just be honest and say you don't want to go. Nobody's going to put a gun to your head. It's fine to say no. Like, learn to say no. It'll help you in your life. Learn to say no. So her sister, on the other hand, her sister is like, well, I still want to go, so like, I'll go with you. So I show up at the house, and I text portrait. My friend, I text my friend and I'm like, I'm at your house. You know, I don't know if anybody's here. I've been knocking on the door. I've been ringing the doorbell. Nobody's answering. They're at the house, but nobody's answering. And she's like, oh, you know, she's getting ready. She'll be down in a minute. Okay, if she'll be down in a minute, why can't I go stand in your house for a minute? All the other times that I was at her house, for her, she was fine with letting me come in, even if we were about to step out and go walk to the beach or something like that. But the one time I show up at the house for her sister and I to go do something because your ass decided that you were too nauseous and you just didn't want to come, it's a problem. I have to stand outside like I'm a stranger to you all of a sudden. And my friends, the people that I'm still friends with to this day, they were like, girl, at that point you should have called her ass out because that was petty. And yes, they are right. It was actually, yes, indeed, it was very petty. It was very petty. And that was the beginning of a very, very petty, everlasting interaction with this girl until I cut the shit. So eventually, her sister, Paintbrush, comes downstairs and her sister opens the door and she's like, girl, I didn't even know you were sitting out here all this time. And I say, oh really? Because I told your sister that I was out here. I rang the doorbell, I knocked on the door, and her dad and anybody else, or maybe her dad wasn't there yet, but whoever, they just ignored me. They just act like they didn't know I was there. And I was like, okay, like this is strange, because typically it's all like, hey Starlini, come inside, have some ice cream, da 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 da, have some of this, have some of that, when I'm there for portrait. But there was a whole like other thing going on with the sister, Paintbrush, and the whole family. And I think that they just acted so weird towards that girl. And because I was there for that girl, they were acting weird about it as well. But that's literally another occasion and another story for another time. So I walk to the park or to wherever we went to, or with Paintbrush, and literally the entire time we were just talking. I was doing most of the listening because, like I said, the girl was clearly going through something. Okay, the girl was sitting around like this all the time. She was clearly going through something. So she's just talking to me. She's just telling me all this kind of stuff about her relationship, and then that ventured into, like, that's how I found out why she had been spending so much time away from the house, because I would go over there and the girl wouldn't be over there. Now I know why. Or at the time I was like, now it makes sense. I know why. Okay. And she told me that her sister told her not to tell me any of this stuff, so act like I don't know that this is what's going on if it's ever brought up. And I was like, well, why would your sister tell you that you can't talk about your own situation? And she's like, oh, because she told me not to tell you any of our family business. She told me not to talk to you about this, 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 and this. And I'm like, well, you have every right to talk to me about whatever you want to talk to me about. She goes on to tell me that, oh, well, don't tell her I told you this, but she thinks that you're too preachy. She thinks that you talk too much. She thinks that you're always lecturing. And girl, maybe it is so. Maybe it is true. Maybe I need a classroom so I can just lecture people, because I guess all I do is lecture. Maybe I needs me a congregation, because all I do is give sermons. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just missing a congregation or something like that. Good to know that that's how you feel, though. You know, because when I'm sitting there in front of you, when I'm giving my sermons and stuff, oh yes, girl, speak truth to power. But then behind my back, you want to tell your sister that I talk too much, something I already know. And you want to tell your sister that I'm always lecturing, I'm always preaching. Girl, if you don't call upon the Lord to have him tell you to take several seats, okay? So I was just like, okay, that's interesting. And she's like, oh, don't tell her I told you this. She continued to tell me, like, oh, this conversation happened just a few nights ago. She doesn't want me to talk to you about any of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. While we're sitting there at the park, she gets a text message. I don't get any text messages or nothing like that. And mind you, when I showed up to the house and I asked her if her sister was ready and stuff, I asked her again, do you want to come with? Do you want to just get out? Like, you say you're nauseous. Do you want to come out and just, like, you know, chill or something like that? Like, it may make you feel better, you know? And she said, no, I have a headache now too. Like, you know, just adding stuff to it. Like, it's a damn strawberry layered cake. I'm like, okay, whatever. So then it's funny because we're sitting at the park, and then she texts her sister, like, where are you guys at? When are you coming back? Where are you guys at? When you're coming back? Like, what's the rush? I don't understand. I asked you if you wanted to come. You don't want to come. So what you asking questions for now? I didn't understand it. And I'm like, what? Like, ¿qué estás haciendo? What are you talking about? Why are you trying to interrupt the moment for? Why? I didn't understand that, what the pushiness was. Are you getting lonely in the house by yourself? Because you didn't have to be in the house by yourself. So, can you tell I got that irritation in me? Can you tell? So she texted her that like a few times in the time that we're at the park. And I'm like, it's been only like a few hours at this point. What is her issue? Like, are you just not allowed to be outside your house for a certain amount of time? And it was just weird. Her sister was like, oh, you know, I think it's just because I'm with you. I'm like, well, I think so too, but that's fine. It's not my business. So anywho, we get some ice cream. We walk back to the house. At this point, it's like, excuse me. Excuse me. So at this point, like, the sun has already come down. We were out for maybe like 4 hours or something like that. Like just talking, just enjoying the air, walking, etc., etc. So just chilling, like nothing major, nothing like that. Literally the same stuff that I would do with my friend Portrait if she wanted to be there, you know. So we're there. I mean, we start walking back. When we finally get to her house, her friend, not her friend, let mercy, her sister Portrait, she opens the door for us, and then she was like, wow, what took you guys so long? What were you guys doing? I'm like, what we said we would be doing. Like, where the park is not that far from your house. Is like, my camera died. I'm like, what, the park is not that far from your house, you know, like we were just chilling over there. Like, if you were so anxious and so worried or something like that, like you really could have just came over there. But her sister was like, we were just talking, like we were just chilling, nothing. And I said the same thing, like, yeah, we literally were just chilling, just talking, just not sure where the interrogation is coming from, you know. So anywho, I had already told her, like, I need to charge my phone before we even got into the house. She said, like, the sister was like, oh, I'm sorry, like my dad's not here to drive you, like you're gonna have to call an Uber. And I was like, yeah, I know, I didn't see his car in the driveway, so I figured that. I know that if he were there, he would have offered to drive me, or maybe he would have, you know. So I go into the kitchen, I plug in my phone, and I'm just sitting there just trying to see like how soon the Uber will get to me. So while I'm sitting there, right, like this is so petty, this is so petty. It's so petty to me, bro. I'm sitting there, you know, I got my phone like her sister, and I hear nothing. It's just silence, right? And then her sister's like, she's waiting for her Uber to come. So I'm like, did this heifer really just mouth the words? Because I see her silhouette. I see her, okay? I see her out of the corner of my eye, facing her sister. So what she did was she mouthed the words to her sister. What is she doing here? Why is she still here? That's what she asked her sister, but silently, as if she don't got a mouth, as if I don't know English, like she don't know English, like she can't just ask me, ¿tú hablas inglés? Like, really, girl? That's what we're doing now? So all of a sudden, because I go to work out or go whatever, to walk around, whatever, with your sister, now all of a sudden you can't speak to me directly? It was very petty to me. And this is, I don't do this type of stuff with the people that are still my friends to this day. This is not how I get down. This is not how I interact with the folks that I consider my friends. I don't got the time. I am too grown for this shit. You are too grown for this shit. And at the time, I was only 2018. I was only 19 years old at the time. In 2018, I was only 19 years old. Not that I wasn't really grown, but it's like I'm mature enough to know this is unnecessary. You could really just turn to me and be like, Starlini, are you waiting for your ride? Do you need like, you know, do you need money? Do you need cab fare to get home? Like, at least fake like you're concerned. But for you to just turn to your sister and mouth words to her, that's some weak-hearted pussyfoot ass bitch type shit. That's what weak-hearted pussyfoot ass bitches do. You don't just mouth the words, why is she still here? Girl, use your mouth, use your words, ask if you're really so curious. So at that point, I was just, again, like I was earlier today, triggered. I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work out for me. It's not gonna work out for you. You're getting on my nerves. So she goes upstairs, talk about some, well, I need to go finish my laundry. And okay, like grabs her laundry from the basement and goes back upstairs. So I go upstairs right before my Uber arrives, and I go upstairs. I ask her, I was like, portrait. And I go into her room. No, actually, before I even open the door, this heifer had the nerve to say to me, what? Ooh, child, I lost about 3 inches that night. Ooh, she said, what? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. I had to bring out a sermon for that ass. I had to just bless God for a second and say, God, please bless me in return. Okay, reciprocate it because I need it, God. I was like, did she just say what to me? What? Okay, so I was just like, can I come in? You know, just because, listen, I got a lot of, I'm not proud of it. I don't got a lot of patience, but I got a high tolerance for BS, okay? Because I've experienced a lot of it. But with this girl, I was getting to that point because I was seeing through it. So I enter the premises, okay? I enter her habitation and I asked her, I was like, what's wrong? I was like, I've never seen you like this. Are you sure that you're okay? Like, what's going on with you? And I asked her in such a calm, you know, because my head voice, this is my diagram voice right now, okay? My head voice, it's like, oh, portrait, what's wrong? I've never seen you like this before. Are you sure you're okay? That's my head voice for that ass. My diagram voice is this one right here. And I didn't even speak because this one has too much assertion for people. People always think I'm upset when I talk like this. No, I'm just projecting my voice. So I asked her, she's like, oh, I'm fine, you know, avoiding eye contact and everything. I'm fine. Lying. And I asked her again, I said, well, are you sure? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure? Because I've never seen this, like, this side of you before, portrait. Are you sure? Like, and she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just nauseous. I just got a headache, you know, like, I haven't been feeling good, you know, just add in symptoms. Like, it's a strawberry layer cake. Just add in symptoms. I'm like, okay. Well, I asked. I go into the Uber. I go home. I text Paintbrush that I'm home, and then because whoever I'm out with, I text them my whereabouts, like, oh, I just got here or I just got home. So then I get home, I get situated, pull up the phone like her sister, and I call portrait, and I'm just like beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop, and I'm like, yeah, hello. Okay, I'm done being extra because this is so long, but yeah, I'm just like, okay, like I can't go to sleep unless I know that you're okay. And what it was, honestly, is I was just trying to give this girl the opportunity to tell me the truth that I already knew. I just wanted to hear from her. I just wanted her to be honest with me. Because again, if you cannot be honest with me, we have nothing. We ain't got a friendship. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got a friendship. We ain't got nothing. We don't got nothing if you can't be honest with me. Ain't no sense in me being honest with you. You're not going to reciprocate that. So I call her. I let her know. Like, I just sense something is going on. Like, are you sure that you're okay? She's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was like, well, you know, I thought about it. And I do understand, just because I do have older sisters. Like, I do understand, like, maybe it's not a good idea for me to be around your sister as much. Like, I just literally threw that out there. And I didn't need to, because your sister is an individual. She's going to gravitate towards whoever she gravitates towards. It's not my fault that people gravitate towards me. It is not my fault that I was raised to be respectful. When I'm friends with someone and they invite me into their space, I become cool with their brothers. I become cool with their sisters. I become cool with their parents, because I'm a kind person, because I'm funny, because people gravitate towards my personality. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm also not going to go into your house and act like I don't see your family members and act like I don't see your sisters. And I'm damn sure not going to tell them that if I'm sitting in a space next to you, they can't come with us. It's not up to me, you know? Like, why? Never mind, because it's all stupid. It's all petty. It's all petty, bro. So I told her, like, I realized, I thought about it on the way home, and I realized that, like, it could be awkward if I'm, like, around your sister and stuff, because I'm your friend first and foremost. That's the loyalty speaking, because I'm loyal, okay? So I'm like, I understand, like, I'm your friend first, etc. Just trying to literally throw her that bone so she could tell me the good and honest truth, God. And she's just like, oh, literally, this is what this girl said to me. Oh, I never even thought about that, but thank you for saying that, honestly. And she just laughs, this nervous little laugh. I never even thought about that, but thank you for saying it to me. Like, I swear I'm fine. I'm just nauseous. I'm just not feeling too good. Just lying through that teeth, girl, lying through them teeth. And I just thought, yeah, good riddance to you. It's really a wrap with a bow on top. Move around, girl, color U-Haul truck. It's really a wrap with a bow on top. Move around, girl, color U-Haul truck. It's a wrap. Because you're lying through your teeth. And my feelings were so hurt for a second, because I knew that this was the end of that friendship. I just knew, because I'm like, well, you just lied through your teeth, lied to my face, okay? And then I give you an opportunity to redeem that ass, okay? And then you lied to me again. You lied to me again. And more than it is about the lying and not being able to trust a liar, it is, I don't have time in this world to wait for people to mature. Because when you have when you've been dealt the kind of cards I've been dealt, you gotta mature. You have to be able to hold yourself accountable. You have to be self-directed, and you can't be self-directed if you can't tell yourself the truth. I have to be able to acknowledge, like, I just got off the phone with someone earlier today, someone who means a lot to me, and I was irritated because of something that this person said. But I love this person way too much to let the tone of my voice be the last thing that this person hears tonight. So I'm going to call this person right after I'm done doing this shebang, okay? And I'm gonna let this person know I love you so much, bro, because I don't want this person. I know that my tone was like, because I'm irritated. I already said it earlier, like, I'm irritated already. So it's like, that's what I'm talking about. You got to be aware. You got to know when you're crossing lines. And when I said to her, like, I do understand that it could be weird for me to be around your sister, especially when you're not there. But here's the thing. I asked you if you wanted to come with us. If you didn't want me to go with your sister, that says more about how insecure you are. Because me and you were friends first. And, well, just to be frank, now that I don't talk to the girl anymore, that her sister don't talk to me. Although her sister is the one crying to me, telling me how everybody in the family wanted to diss her and dog her and treat her and stuff. And all of a sudden, like, when things go awry with me and the girl, her sister doesn't know my name anymore. Her sister doesn't recognize me anymore. Her sister can't respond to a text anymore. Good riddance to all of them. That's how I feel. Hey, good riddance to all of them. That's exactly how I feel. Because if it was meant for me, if those friendships, if those bonds, if those relationships were genuine, they would still be in my life to this day. And as if they could be so petty towards one another, they could be so petty towards me. Even their mom said, because that her sister Paintbrush, I'm about to tell on that ass, her sister Paintbrush sat there and talked so bad about her friend who's feasting, her friend who comes over to the house and is always eating everything. They were just going off at the mantle, talking about this girl, her friend. And her mom came in there and said, hey, like, stop. Like, this, she's going to think, Starlina's going to think that this is how you talk about her when she's not around. And I say, yeah, actually, that's how I'm looking at all y'all right now. Wondering if that's how y'all talk about me when I'm not here. And I'm sure that it is, which is why y'all all deserve each other. Because I don't do that to people. I'm not saying I never talk about my friends or nothing like that, but to sit around and talk about how that girl feels and all this kind of stuff, that's empty conversation. If you actually have a problem with a friend and you go to another friend to get some advice about it because you can trust that friend to keep it to herself, I think that is different, and I think that that is healthy. I think that that is healthy because you got to be able to talk to people about your issues, okay? And not everybody has a therapist. At the time, I did not have a therapist, okay? But yeah, like, good riddance to all of them. Good riddance to all of them. Thank you so much for the blessings that you brought to my life. Thank you for spending the Christmas with me, 2018, or was it 2017? Thank you. Yeah, it was 2017 because she was definitely out of my life before the end of 2018. And this is how it all ended, and then I'm going to end this. So what I did was, she had one more time to tell me the truth. I invited her to go do something with me again, and once again she hit me with the I'm nauseous, I don't feel well. Like, why are you always nauseous? Why is that the same excuse you keep on using? You gotta get more creative, girl. Gotta switch it up. So she's like, I'm nauseous, I'm like, okay, well, you know. She was like, oh, like, I'll let you know. And so then, like, hours go by. I tell her I need to be at something by such and such, and she was like, I call her. I'm like, okay, well, ring a ding ding. Like, I call her, like, hello, and literally asked her, like, did she want to come, or like, what's her deal, what she wants to do. And she's like, oh, well, I'm nauseous, I actually got a headache now. And then she starts asking me questions about a show, like, did you watch this, da 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 da. And I felt so disrespected because I'm on this phone with this girl, listening to her gaslight her way through the situation, listening to her act like she didn't hear me ask any of these questions, acting like she didn't hear me say I'm on a time crunch, where that ass at. So I was just like, okay, well, it's clear that, like, you are spineless. It's clear that you don't have the cojones to say nothing. You can't even tell me the truth about what's really going on with you and your insecurities and your jealousy towards your sister. You could tell me all day how your sister said this and this and this to you, but you never acknowledge the fact that you literally belittled your sister. And I'm sure that that's not the first time that you've done it. That was just the first time I got to see it in person. You have no sense of awareness when it comes to how you are sabotaging yourself and your relationships at home, and sabotaging your relationship with me. Because again, if you could look me in my face and see that I got all kinds of piece of crust on my lips, and then you don't say nothing to me, girl, bye. Girl, bye. Because I would do that for you in a heartbeat. And I've done it for, I've literally been in her face like, girl, you got something right here, let me help you with it. You got something right here, let me help you. Because that's just what you do when you care about somebody. But thank you for letting me know that I cared about you just way too much, and way more than you cared about me. Because now I could, you know, move you out that slot and then put somebody. And that's what I did. Like, I'm not saying I replaced her, but it's like, literally, I realized God will, like, evict people out of your life, especially when they're taking up a space that actually belongs to someone else. And shortly after that, someone amazing came into my life, someone who is still in my life, someone who loves me and treats me and values me and supports me, and who is kind towards me and who is honest with me. That's all I'm asking for, bro. Just be genuine. And if you can't, is a rap with a boat on top, move around, color you ultra A. I don't even know what time it is. I gotta go to sleep. But see, that's my video for the day. On that note, I would say tata mi amores. Take care.
Gonna give you this mic back, but what I'm gonna say to the ladies that been told that you cannot have, you tell the devil you's a liar.